the anger of that music playing kept me awake because I was just sitting there going, ugh, this is terrible! I try to get myself a little, try to get myself a sweet treat every once in a while before I go out and drive and go on these things. And I love Dutch Bros, but if anybody has gone to Dutch Bros, if you get a blended Rebel there, they always have this weird bitter aftertaste. And I think it's because they blend coffee drinks in the same blender that they do blended Rebels in. But it's that's what makes it a blended Rebel. It's that weird, hits the back of your throat. You're ugh, is that coffee? Yeah. What is the best music to listen to on a road trip? What do people listen to when driving? Because I have, throughout the years, I have cycled through so many listening phases as I drive and as I do. I feel like it entirely depends on the weather, where I'm driving to, what the scenery is like. I get up into a high desert and all of a sudden my country playlist crawls up out of the depths of hell and it's oh, you're listening to Coulter Wall now, whether you like it or not. There's just there's a special place in my heart for each specific type of genre and artist for the space that I'm driving in. And I keep falling back on some rules that I have when driving. When I drive, I have a rule. One second, I have to pass this guy. It's either one or the other, but preferably it's both. I have to have loud or high energy music playing. And if I'm the one driving, trying to maintain focus, especially at night, the heater is not allowed to be on. It has to be on either fan or AC. And that is because very calm music in a road trip at night with the heater on, I'm falling asleep at the wheel. Not too long ago, I went on a road trip. It was over 10 hours. We were driving up to Canada, basically. We went to Canada. And driving home from that, I ended up driving at the very tail end of it because everyone was tired. And for some reason, they were afraid of me driving. But they had the heater on. Everyone in the car had blankets on. And they were playing... The chick I was going with has an incredibly different music taste than I do. But she was playing what I equate to very soft, coffee shop background music. Almost like lo-fi. Lo-fi, acoustic guitar, soft female voice singing with a heater on, and it's 1 a.m, we're driving, I'm driving on the highway, it's dark, and I'm white knuckling it because they're all asleep and I don't want to wake them up going okay guys, we need to listen to something other than coffee shop music and just turn it all the way up, because I had my playlist on, and admittedly, I thought one of the two girls in the car was much more into metal music than the other one, I thought, because she gave me the impression that she really liked Gojira, or she had gone to a concert of them before. So I put it on, and I get halfway through, I forgot what song it was. I get halfway through a Gojira song, and she reaches over and twists the knob down and goes, okay, my heart's beating too quickly, can we change the music? Girl, I'm about to pass out at the wheel. But I did, I don't want to be rude. So we change it. It's quiet, soft music. I'm white knuckling it through this drive. It was truly a testament of will. There's a certain point where you just thug it out and you make yourself so agitated, or even the mere fact that I hated this genre of music so much that it was it was not the right music to be playing at that time. The anger of that music playing kept me awake because I was just sitting there going, ugh, this is terrible! This is terrible! that kept me awake. Just long story short, I cannot deal with quiet, soft music. And that's kind of a lie, because ambient music, like dark ambient music, has a special place in my heart. Especially like in the winter, or like when it's just like an overcast and kind of rainy day. There's something so like cathartic about driving with like a very melancholy song, like a dark ambient song playing while driving, either like in the snow or just a very overcast and cloudy day, or when it's like a very high ceiling overcast rainy day where you can look up at the clouds and like go, whoa, that's really cool looking. But dark ambient does have a special place in my heart, and it kind of gets into this whole, what seasons do I have for each of my specific playlists? Because I have, almost a seasonal playlist shift, where winter I do listen to a lot more like dark ambient, like doom metal. We get into the slower, more like melancholic genres, I suppose, which doom, yeah, that it tracks. Summer to me is very much like speed metal, like speed metal, hair metal. And I'm actually driving on a very specific patch of road. This is a passing lane right now, where for a while, a few summers ago, I got really into Motley Crue again. Just like kind of reliving old bands that I listened to throughout childhood and like actually listening to their discography. And I gotta tell you, a very warm, clear, blue-skied, sunny day with speed metal or like classic hair metal playing in your car on a road trip has a special place in my heart, because it's like the high BPM, beats per minute. I feel as though people who have a specific taste in music tend to be more attached to the BPM than the like genre itself, because I find myself listening to a lot of music with very high BPM. Even thinking about like Kubla Khan, I'm going to use them as an example because I saw them pop up on my screen right here. Kubla Khan has a pretty high BPM, and that's just kind of attached to hardcore as a genre. And it goes even from there. I mean, I'm not going to say I like grindcore, like gore grind or grindcore as a genre. Like grindcore has an insane amount of beats per minute, but I don't necessarily like it as a genre. It is impressive, and it scratches a specific part of your brain of like, yes, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's nice. But I almost find myself sitting in the more thrash. Yeah, thrash. I've loved thrash. Like through and through, thrash has been a consistent genre for me. But on road trips, I'm listening to Brazilian and Portuguese funk music. And it's like, girl, what? How'd you even get into that? How? Russian funk. How did I get into that? TikTok edits. And it's like this one very specific little part of a song. You see a model like walking down a runway to this funk song. But they're good. They're so good. The serotonin I obtain driving to funk music, it's the perfect amount of like, you don't know what's going on. It's very high energy. There's just the right amount of like beats per minute for the songs. The songs are short, so you're constantly going through new things, but they all have like one consistent theme or like a similar sample that a lot of them use, especially in like the Brazilian funk, that I fear that when I get my Apple Music, like the recap of my Apple Music for 2025, it's gonna be like, girl, you listen to funk way more than you listen to metal music. And I can see why, because driving versus like just the day-to-day listening, when I use Apple Music, I use it more consistently for driving, and it does skew it. I think people who listen to higher BPM music cross the genre barriers much more than people who listen to like slower BPM music. Like doom metal, DSBM, like the drearier. Black metal definitely can have a much higher BPM than doom. I think characteristically with doom metal having the slower BPM is going to make it, you know, like slower. And I'm not sure on this specifically, I could just be yapping. But I also believe sludge has a slower like BPM in comparison to black metal. But then you get into like all of the weird subgenres of like blackened sludge or like sludgy doom. I just think sludge, I can't remember off the top of my head what the key characteristics of sludge were, because to me I think it's black metal vocals with doom metal backgrounds. No, I don't know. I will look that up when I get home though. I'm sure this is just going to be like a full, like however long left I have on this card of just utter fucking yapping. But that was kind of the point with this, was I wanted to try and just get some of the random miscellaneous thoughts that I have coming into my head as I'm driving, and then like documenting them, whether it be in video format or some other kind of format, because I don't know, why not? Driving is almost the zen of my like day-to-day, and it's mainly the place where I came up with a lot of my ideas for like what to do for content, you know, like brainstorming, like what do I want to do when I have these long, you know, like almost 3-hour road trips, because I do this quite often for work. And so this is also just kind of like a trial run to see even like the capabilities of like the camera that I've, you know, invested in to make content with, is to see like, is this even a feasible thing to do with like my camera or my setup or the mount that I bought? Like, can I make content like this? Does it work out? Because, you know, like what else am I going to do? It's not like I can be actively scrolling TikTok right now, like when I'm sitting at my desk. You know, I'm focused on one thing at hand, and it's almost like the doodling concept, where you use one hand and you're like doodling all over a piece of paper while you're watching a lecture, and supposedly that is supposed to make you retain information better, or at least make you focus better. Like, this is my doodling, like the driving and the doing and the going on this road, like driving back, and it's, I don't know. I truly like have come to appreciate the time I spend on the road driving. And it's taken like a long time to get over the like, almost like the dread of driving and like doing things like this that leave large spanses of time, and like coming to a new appreciation that this dead space in this kind of like transition period that I have, you know, every month, you know, gives me a lot of time to just kind of sit and reflect. We're in the middle of nowhere. Over there's a little town called Hayfork over there. But I like coming out here and just kind of, I don't know, vibing. I like posted a meme here when it was all snowy where it's like, imagine bleeding out to this view. Is press dead? Is the age of the media outlets and the news outlets dead? Because to me, it seems